In this video, I'm going to show you how to get high-paying clients just by writing emails using 4 simple steps. And the first step is going to be about the scripts and what you're actually going to say inside of these emails, okay? So let me give you an example of a script that I'm currently using that made me $65,000 in the last 3.5 months. This is the first thing that we have to optimize for when it comes to the script that we're using, okay? So the first thing we need to do is we need to essentially blend in with someone who would actually, with someone who would be opened by the particular person that we're sending a message to, right? So when we're talking about our clients, right, for me, for example, I work with marketing agencies and coaches, right? Someone who is like an agency owner or a coach, right? The reason why they're going to open an email is one, because they have an ongoing conversation with a specific person, or number two, it's because they might have a client inquiring about their services, right? So by keeping the subject line vague here and by saying quick question for this person's name, we're not directly saying we're a client, right? But it's saying that there's a possibility, so they're not going to basically skip this message because there's a chance that it could be something important, okay? We're not trying to sell them in the subject line, we're just trying to get them to click, okay? Now, once we have their attention, there's 2 things that we need to focus on that people are going to want to know in order to actually schedule a call with you in order to give you money for your high ticket services, okay? So in this statement here, right, obviously the first part is just getting an intro, right, is basically just saying, giving them a compliment, right? But the main juice is in this part here, and these are the 2 things that are going to be important, okay? So number 1, the person actually has to want what we have, okay? So we need to be able to deliver them something that they actually want. And number 2, they also have to believe that we actually can do what we say we can do, okay? Now, in this first line here, right, we're talking about their main pain point and the thing that they want to solve, okay? So I just talked to a few other agency owners, and quite a few of them are struggling to scale past 6 or multi-6 figures, okay? Same thing for your business, right? And you just insert the business here, okay? Now, this is basically talking about, okay, do you want to scale past this? That's the dream outcome. This is why they're going to continue to read, okay? So now this here is the second part where I don't know why this stupid Grammarly thing is in the way of this. But the second part here is if I just go back and open this, right, is I scaled my own business, JKD Agency, to 107K a month in just a matter of 11 months. And I've helped over 56 other agencies like yours consistently sign clients every month, okay? So this is the proof that we can actually do what we say we can do, okay? So it's like, oh, these guys are like, why should I believe them? Because they did it themselves, they did it for 50 other companies, right? Now, the second part here is also going to hit on the fact that we're going to get them these results, and we're going to help them do it on a on a risk averse basis, okay? So I'm so confident in our systems that if we can't help you get 120 qualified appointments in the next 120 days, we don't get paid, meaning that you'll get multiple clients every single month without having to run ads, make content, or pay a crazy retainer to some appointment setter who probably won't get you results anyways. And then the CTA. Okay, by the way, this is our offer. If you want to learn more, you can check out the description, right? But this is the reason why this works is because we're keeping it, number 1, very minimal in terms of the what we're actually saying. You can see all of this on a single page, which you want to do. You don't want to clutter your email with a bunch of crap. You want it to be as little as possible while conveying the 2 points in the most you want to solely focus on those 2 points, right? What is this person actually going to get me, right? And number 2, why should I believe that they're actually telling the truth, okay? Now let me help you with building out what this person actually wants, how you can convey that so you're able to get the most amount of conversions and the most amount of people to give you their money. So 99% of the success that you're ever going to have with getting clients from writing emails is all going to be based on what you're actually able to get them, okay? Now this is where 99% of agency owners and consultants go wrong when they're actually trying to get clients with outbound, okay? A lot of the times, what you're going to do is the thing that they're getting that I've been referring to this whole time, a lot of the time that's going to be your service, or that's what you're going to be talking about, right? But the issue is, when you're doing that, you're only targeting the very small percentage of the market that is aware that that solution is the thing that they need to solve their problem, okay? So let me give you an example. So recently I was talking with a potential client, right? And he's obviously struggling booking appointments. That's why he came to talk to me, right? And he was using emails to try and get clients, right? But the issue is when he showed me his emails, he was doing SEO and copywriting for e-commerce businesses, right? The issue with what he was doing is he was the end result, the goal that he was talking about helping people with was the actual SEO and was the copywriting tactics that he could put inside of their business, right? But here's the problem, is that 99% of the people that you're going to be reaching out to, I mean more than 99% of people, right? Probably 1 out of 1,000 people will not be this, right? But most people are not going to know the solution that they need in order to solve their problem, right? So for me, for example, I help people get more appointments and get more clients, and I do that by using things like cold email and cold LinkedIn, right? Now the issue is in that email, you did not see me once mention the fact that I'm going to help them with cold email and with cold LinkedIn, because the people I'm reaching out to, they don't care about that. The only thing that they care about is getting the result, and they don't know that the way to get the result, that the best way to get the result is to use cold email and is to use LinkedIn, because if they did, they would already be using it, right? So the problem is with this person, right, he was telling people how he can help them with SEO. The people who knew the value in SEO, those people are already buying SEO from other people, right? And the people who didn't understand the value of SEO aren't going to be convinced on like a piece of text that they need to work with him because he's just offering SEO, right? But if he was telling people that he was able to help get them more customers and he was able to help increase the conversion rate on their site, or he was able to get more clicks on their site, or whatever the case may be, right? That would be something that people would care about. And even though SEO is the thing that's going to help them do that, these people don't know that because they're not at that level of awareness, okay? So bottom line, what you need to be doing is you need to be talking high level about what the problem is and what the outcome is once it is solved, and that you can actually help them do that without explaining the exact mechanism that you use to be able to do that, because the likelihood is that if they knew that that was the best way to get to where they wanted to go, they would already be using it. Step number 2 is all going to be about getting leads, which is finding the people and finding the emails of the people that you're going to send outreach to, okay? Now, the number one rule when it comes to leads is that you need to have people of a very, very similar characteristic, okay? So what a lot of people do is they'll try and get people from different industries and all different kinds of businesses, and they'll just spray and pray and hope that it works, right? Now, the issue with that is that if you are general enough inside of your targeting where it's not going to apply specifically to a certain kind of person, when you just send it, when you have a generalized email that you're sending out to everyone, the likelihood is that you're not actually going to connect with any particular person, which is why it's so important to have a niche, because when you do, you're able to be extremely direct to the person that you're actually talking to and the problem that you're solving, right? So for me, if I helped agency owners and realtors and plumbers and everything under the sun, right, my message isn't going to actually connect with any of them, right? So by targeting specifically marketing agencies and by saying I've worked with over 60 plus marketing agencies specifically, that's going to be a lot more powerful than me just saying I've worked with many businesses, right? Because it's specifically addressing their current situation, okay? Now, there are 2 main ways to actually find leads and find emails of people who you can actually reach out to, okay? Number 1 is by manual scraping and by using different tools like snov.io and by using things like contactout.com, which you can use to essentially scrape emails of the people who own different websites. So what you can do is you can use one of these extensions, go to a website, and then pull the emails that are based on the same domain as that actual website. Okay, I have a full tutorial on how to do that. I'll link that at the end of the video. You can watch this after this one, okay? Now, on top of that, the second way to do this is by using databases, okay? So there's tons of databases like Apollo.io and Lucia.com and things like that, where you can essentially go into those databases, you can pay for a certain amount of leads, and then you can just take all those emails, right? Now, typically what I like to do is I like to have more of the manual approach, and I just have like a virtual assistant to scrape those manually for me. Obviously, like just business owner, you probably shouldn't be scraping leads yourself, right? Now, the reason why I like doing that is because typically what happens is every single person in your market is taking leads from the same place, okay? So I used to actually use Apollo.io myself. That was the main software I used for leads. And then I compared it to this manual approach where I actually had virtual assistants manually go through the web and find different companies, okay? And what I found is the booking rate on people from Apollo was about a 0.25, and the booking rate from people who were manually scraped was almost 1%. Meaning that the increase in the amount of clients that I was able to get from manually lead sourcing was almost 4 times as great as without that. Okay, so those are the 2 main ways. If you want to save money, if you want to save some time, you can go the database route, but I'd highly recommend using that manual method, which I'll show you later. If you want help from me with any of this and get help installing this inside of your company so that you can automatically start generating clients guaranteed, I put a link in the description that you can click on that explains a little bit about how that works. But step number 3 is all going to be about actually setting up the email and making sure that you're avoiding spam. So what a lot of times will happen is if you're sending out emails, if you're not setting your email up correctly before you actually send out these emails, you're going to end up going to spam, okay? And when you go to your spam folder or when you go to junk, very, very, very few people are actually going to see that email, okay? Now, the reason why this happens is typically because of a few things, right? Number one is they're sending way too many emails at once. I would typically recommend not ever sending up over 25 emails per day just to cold prospects, okay? That would be the absolute limit for me. Number two, people don't set up records properly, right? So like that could go and make a whole video on this, right? But there's certain things that you actually have to do inside of the email servers when you purchase an email to make sure that you're not going to go to spam as soon as you start sending emails from that. And number three is actually warming these emails up correctly using different software and using different automations, which I'm going to show you how to do in step 4. All right. Now, if you want a simple solution to this, and if you want a simple solution to making sure that the emails are set up correctly, the warm-up's done properly, all of this, there's also, I'm going to link in the description to a site called Premium Inboxes, which you're actually able to get emails for significantly cheaper than if you were able to buy them on your own. And on top of that, this company, they also set up all the records for you completely automatically. And they're also able to set up your warm-up and put it into your automation software again completely for you. So that makes it pretty easy. It's not very expensive. It's like $3 an email. And most of the time you're going to have to pay $6 per month if you're buying them from Google anyways. So it's actually cheaper if you do it this way, and also a lot easier. So it's a really useful tool. I'll link it down below. So the last step is all going to be about automation and sending these emails automatically, okay? Now, once you've used Premium Inboxes and you've got these inboxes inside of your Instantly account, which is a software I personally use, instantly.ai, you can go visit there whenever you want. But what you need to do is to set up these automations is you're going to have to go to campaigns, you're going to go to add new, you're going to call this whatever you want. I'm going to call this test. Just for fun to show you guys how this actually works. Okay, what you can do here is you're going to add your lead list that you either bought from your database or you just got from scraping manually or having a VA scrape manually for you. And you can just obviously upload a CSV file of all the leads, or you can just enter the emails manually. And then once you can do that, right, what you're going to do is you're just going to put the subject line of the email, which I would recommend quick question for name, always works. And then having your actual body copy of what you're going to say, which again, I've already given you a script for that. And you're just going to add that inside of here. Okay, on top of that, you can add follow-ups onto these emails so that you can add, like if you want to say, hey, were you able to check out this email? You can add a first follow-up, you can add a next follow-up to go out in a day, you can add another follow-up, and really as many follow-ups as you want. I'd recommend having one initial email and then 3 follow-ups on top of that. And then once you have that set up in place, you can add a schedule. I would recommend doing Monday to Friday, having them being sent out from intervals of 9 a.m. all the way till 5 p.m. typically. I have mine set to 6 for whatever reason. I think it doesn't really matter at that point. And then inside of the options, right, there's a few settings that are going to be super important to make sure you have in place so that you can actually get results with this, okay? So the first thing you want stop sending emails on reply to be enabled, okay? So that when someone sends you a reply, you're able to go to this uni box here and you're able to respond to this person, and the follow-ups aren't going to be continuing to send to the people who are already interested, right? And then on top of that, right, you want to keep this open tracking enabled. There's a lot of people who say you can disable it because you should disable it because it's going to affect your deliverability. I've actually tested both and I found that it doesn't make a difference. If you want, you can leave this disabled and make sure that the max limit of the amount of emails that you're sending. If you have, for example, 10 email accounts on this campaign specifically, you want to make sure that this is lower than the amount of like max emails you should be sending, right? So I recommended max 25 emails per account. So if you have 10 emails, the max in this campaign should be 250, for example, right? There's a ton of little settings you can mess with here, and then obviously you can click save here. And then to respond to the emails, you're going to be able to see all the emails, all the responses that you've got, right? And you can basically just reply to them here, okay? So that's basically how this works. If you want a full guide on exactly how I use email, all the intricacies of setting it up, you can click the next video and I'll see you there.